Basically, they can track when civilizations went into a boom or industrialization and that kind of thing based on when coffee got to that civilization.
Buying the coffee shop, closing on the sale, and like I was super excited, right? And then we went outside and we're like, oh snap.
I'm super excited to have you on and learn more about this coffee journey that you've been on.
Guys, it's me. It's Rebecca. I know I look really different. Just
So
wait
crazy.
until I put my glasses on. Whew.
They go
I
really
have
crazy.
3
I can do that.
personas. I'm actually triplets.
Oh,
Oh, wow. Yeah, Rick, actually, you do kind of look a little different.
It's like I have 2
I look different with my glasses. I go
them
from
off.
like professorial to a biker guy,
Oh yeah, very scary.
like to professorial. It's just that, you know,
I hate to break
I
it
am
to you
the Clark
guys.
Kent of.
Neither of you are intimidating.
I
So,
would be
I
not in a
hope-
pink shirt, obviously. Let's, start there.
I think that's probably the more terrifying part about you.
Is that he wears a pink shirt?
Yeah, I mean, it's when they try to look tough, they're not tough. But
Yeah.
when they got glasses on and a bald head and a pink shirt, like that's
Oh, yeah,
scary
yeah,
as
yeah.
shit.
That's what it is, actually.
Yeah,
I just
I
need the
think it's-
sleeve tats to match.
right.
Trying
Think-
so
thinking
hard.
about getting a tattoo, actually.
I want sleeve tats.
Is
do
this
too.
your midlife crisis?
No, I
You're
have
No,
turning
I've wanted
50.
that
You're
for
like,
like
it's time
15
to
years.
get.
No, I've always wanted one. On I want like a full arm,
Okay.
but I just haven't found an artist I really like and
Okay.
a design that I really love.
Then you shouldn't get it until it's
No.
something that you actually.
And that's
you know,
why I
it's
haven't.
permanent.
That's why I said I want to, but haven't because I'm not going to get just random
Just get
shit
it
on
to
my
get
arm.
it. You're too old to just be getting tattoos just for the sake of getting tattoos.
Yeah,
Are you ever
No, I
really
did
too old
that.
for that?
Yes.
I think
That's
so.
like a until you're 23.
Wait a
After
minute. No, that's
23,
backwards.
You can't just get tattoos for
No.
any
Once
willy-nilly
you're older,
reason.
once you get older, you can, because there's less of your life that you'll live with this tattoo. When you're at your youngest is when you should be most careful.
Okay, after 60, then
Rick
you
is
can get
vibing.
it whatever.
He gets it. Yeah.
I think it also has to do with like your kind of your income and where you
Probably
are
true.
in life, right? I mean,
There's that.
back in the day, like the military, limited the tattoos that we were allowed to get. And then if you wanted to
Oh.
go get a jobby job, you couldn't have it below your sleeve. Or
Mhm.
now
Yeah.
that I work for myself and make more money than I ever thought I would, I can do whatever the fuck I want, right? Get a big tattoo on my forehead if I want to.
That's what I always think there's going to be somebody, multimillionaire, that's going to be like, I'm not going to use Ray because he has tattoos. But a Ray without tattoos, I would have hired.
Yeah.
But that's my probably limiting belief.
Mhm.
Yeah. I don't
Does our
buy that.
guest have tattoos? No, I'm interested.
We'll have to ask our guest that.
Do you guys all have tattoos?
I do.
I don't have any.
No, none at all.
None. Zero.
Hmm.
I have a
Well,
scar.
there goes
I
that.
don't have a
There
tattoo.
goes the biker thing.
Yeah.
I know, right? See, out the window.
I'm the most
Yeah.
hardcore one in this group.
How many do you have?
I have 3.
Oh, yeah, I only have 2.
Wow. Yeah.
Mhm.
There you go. We thought she would be the classy one.
Again, I don't know
Again.
why you guys thought that. It's been longer
you
than 5
definitely-
minutes with me, and
Yeah. Had us fooled.
my entire persona. It's a lie.
She's catfishing.
Constantly. All right. Well, our esteemed guest today, I believe, is
Ooh,
known by both of you.
Oh.
They don't consider themselves to be a real estate agent, but rather an entrepreneur who happens to sell real estate.
I've heard that by
Oh.
a lot of people.
They are, of
Mhm.
course, musically gifted because that is my theme.
Tis the trend.
And it is my trend.
Do
And
you
they have
ask this of your guests before you bring them on? Like, hey, do you play an instrument?
She's turned
I
down
think
several
I just-
people because
Yeah.
they didn't.
They're like, no, I don't. Sorry, I'm not going to make it.
I think I just kind of like these are the people that come into my orbit for whatever reason. But this person does have several musical projects in the works, and they just might be Tom Ferry's best friend.
What?
So, without further ado, please help me welcome Kennon Maurer.
Yay, Kennon!
Hello.
What up?
What
Hey,
up,
Kennon.
guys?
I
Tom
would
Ferry's
say-
best friend? I didn't
Yeah, I
put
would
that
say
in
Tom
bio.
Ferry's best friend.
You did
I
not
didn't
put that in the bio.
But very
But
possibly, quite
yesterday-
possibly, Tom Ferry's best friend, though, is true.
Hey, yesterday he was in Seattle for the roadmap thing, and we were best friends yesterday. So
See,
Oh,
That's good. Kennon's one of my favorite people.
Ray, you're one of my favorite people, man.
You know what the best thing is?
You know?
No, what are you talking about, Kennon? No,
I don't know.
One of the things I love is the entrepreneurial spirit of old Kennon. How many coffee shops you got?
Just opened number 3 last week.
That's so awesome.
And it is
wanna grow up?
amazing. Yeah, the place is absolutely stunning. It has like this huge screen right in the middle that has like all these different like waterfall scenes and beach scenes, and
Oh, that's
like
cool.
it's like 2 stories high, I think, that screen. And then it just has like a really cool vibe throughout it. Super classy, unlike me, really put
Yeah.
together.
There are no tattoos on the coffee
Coffee's
shop.
really good. And they do drinks at night, which I haven't gone there yet for the happy hours, but that will be happening.
Oh, you got a liquor license in there?
I did get a liquor license.
Wow.
That's hard in Arkansas to get. You gotta
Really?
We're only doing
Yeah.
beer and wine at this location right now because like a full-on license is like super hard to get.
Mm.
But if you're just doing beer and wine, apparently, they don't really count that.
Interesting.
Do you
So
hear
we'll
an
be
echo
going there
from
for wine
Kennon?
night.
I'm sorry.
You sound like, do you know when the referee is telling the call?
Yeah.
Personal foul. Ow, ow.
Yeah.
That's what you sound like.
You guys can just ask me questions and I'll just put them in the chat.
That works
The most
wonders on a podcast.
anticlimactic. Yeah, that's gonna be a
gonna
great
work
podcast.
really well, right? And then one
Yeah.
of us will take turns reading it
Reading
in our
as
best
Kennon.
Kennon voice.
I should
Listeners,
just go
read
to
the
11
show
labs.
notes for all of Keenan's answers.
Go to 11 labs and mock, like copy his voice, and then we could do that.
This entire day of recording from scheduling to right now has been
A
filled with
blast.
errors.
I mean, it's not been that bad.
Well, so Ray's traveling, doesn't let us know that he's traveling. Then apparently all of his
forget.
flights get delayed by 2 hours of just sitting on the tarmac. So then we're like,
Yeah.
ooh, we got to reschedule everybody.
Ray, why do you always have flight issues?
I don't know, man.
I
And the
swear
weather
that's
was
always you, man.
the weather was gorgeous. Like there was they didn't say we're delayed because of weather. They're like, we're just delayed. And everyone's like, why? And they're like, because they said we can't take off yet.
They were trying to bolt that part back on the plane before they let you take off.
Yeah, for real. Maybe Tim
There's-
Macy's friend was running around on the tarmac.
I was about to say there was a guy on mushrooms who was just running wild out there.
You'll
His
have to
name
watch
may
the
or may
other
not have been
episode.
Tim.
That's hilarious.
Speaking of
Yeah.
mushrooms, Kennon,
Tough transition.
there's actually someone reached out to me because they saw that I like coffee, and they're like, you have to try this because it's a replacement for coffee.
Oh, this is that mud
And
water stuff.
it's mushrooms.
Oh.
And I was wondering, Kennon, as a coffee connoisseur, is this something that y'all have looked into to be like, what is this mushroom hype about?
Is that the mud water stuff? Is that
It's kind of like that.
the company?
Oh, I tried it.
I've seen it.
Can't do it.
See, I tried mud water,
Yeah.
which I think is the same thing. I think that's just like a brand name of mushroom coffee.
Yeah.
And I thought it was disgusting. So
Me too. Right there with you.
That's just me, man.
Absolutely horrible.
And I feel like I'd really be doing a disservice to my customers to allow that into our coffee shops. So
That's great.
Agreed,
So it's
100%.
like muddy water is essentially
it's
what y'all
literally
are
called
telling me.
mud water because
Yeah.
it looks like you went outside and picked up a mud puddle and drink it.
TikTok got me on that with the videos, and they're like, "Oh, it's
Mhm.
so much better for you. Coffee is just bad for you." And I've been, I was in the military, I was Navy, and you can't function, port and starboard shifts, 12 on, 12 off, 4 days. You can't do that without some kind of caffeine assistance. So
Definitely
back
can't
in-
do that on shrooms.
back in the early 90s, like there was no Red Bull. It was just coffee. So you drank lots of black coffee. So coffee has been a big part of my life for many, many, many years. But I was like, okay, well, maybe there's some truth behind how bad coffee is for you. So I was like, I'm getting older. I want to live longer. I want to be healthier.
Mhm.
Maybe I should try it. Absolutely fucking disgusting. I would never drink that shit again. It was horrible. I threw it away right after the first sip. I was like, "Oh, it's garbage.
Yeah.
Find me coffee."
But Ray,
There's
I'm curious, have you tried this stuff?
honestly, I'm totally scared too.
Yeah,
I'm
no.
all about being a tasty trier. That's what we say in my family. But I love black coffee. And it worries me to be like, I'm just going to start my day with a mix of shiitake and turkey tail and king trumpet and reishi and lion's mane and cordyceps
I'll eat
mushrooms.
them. If you cook those mushrooms up, saute them in a little butter,
I know,
I'm
right?
down.
Sprinkle
Put
a
them
little
in
bit
a
of this
cup
on a
and make me
salad or
drink
something.
it. Ugh, it was horrible.
So Rick's review didn't convince you to go out and try that amazing drink.
Well, mud
If you
water
wanna
is
if you wanna
supposedly
try it, I'll
different
buy
from
it
the
for you.
mushroom, but
Is
I'm
it?
going to try it because they sent me a thing. They're like, we'd love your
Oh.
feedback on this.
Bring
Oh.
some to Rise and we'll all try it together.
Wait, how can I get on the list to try foods? Try random things.
You just got to have a following on Instagram. I'm an influencer. I don't know if you know this.
I mean, I have a following.
Once you're an influencer, then yeah, you could do that.
So
All right,
tell us about this
so,
coffee thing. I'm a coffee
yeah.
nerd, so I'm super excited to have you on and learn more about this coffee journey that you've been on. How did this all start?
Yeah, for sure. It started because of my wife, really. She was a barista. That was her first job. She really enjoyed it, loved it, worked her way up, began managing shops. At one point, she was running a couple different shops. And the next kind of step, I guess, to get higher in the industry would be to own your own coffee shop. And so that was kind of an idea for us, starting like 2019. We were like, it'd be kind of cool to, have a coffee shop someday, like 10 years, 15 years, something like that. And then 2020 rolls around and this coffee shop in our town that had started in summer of 2019 was, COVID hit them and they were just like, okay, we're going under and we're going under really fast. So they just wanted to get out of there. And they knew I was friends with the owner's husband, and he knew that I was kind of interested in, eventually getting a coffee shop. And so they reached out to me and they were like, hey, I know you guys are interested in having a coffee shop. Do you want ours? And I was like, well, not really, because
Not now.
I was like,
yeah.
I was like, not really, because that's number one. Number two, I'm kind of just a kid. I don't really know what I'm doing. And number three, this was kind of like a 10-year goal for me. And then they told me the number that they were trying to get. And they were basically giving away their entire coffee shop and all of the inventory and all the equipment and everything.
So just too good to pass up.
And it was way too good to pass up. Plus, the landlords, we started talking with the landlords, and they were like, hey, we'll give you guys free rent for an entire year. And I was like, okay, well,
Wow.
I guess I'll do it.
Yeah.
And fast forward, that was 2.5 years ago, and now we have 3 locations. So
well, don't go too fast. So you buy a coffee shop in the middle of COVID.
It's failing.
That's already failed. How did you go? Because again, still, yes, your wife's a barista. She's got a little bit of experience, but you don't know anything about the coffee business, right? Other than you enjoy drinking it. So how do you get from there to it being successful enough where you're like, hey, I like this. We should open 2-3 more of these guys.
Yeah. So it was November of 2020 when we actually bought the place. And do you guys remember what November of 2020 was like? I don't know if it was the same for you guys, but for us in Washington, everybody was inside their houses. Everybody was like scared to go outside, just like nobody talked to each other. It was just kind of a ghost town. Felt like a ghost town, like inside the city.
Yeah, I live in Florida. We didn't have COVID in Florida, so
that's true. And I don't know if they had it in Arkansas either. So I'm just,
we had 2-week break, and then everyone's like, all right,
That's
we'll
what
figure it
Florida
out.
was like.
COVID apparently started in Washington. So that's where the breakout started.
Oh.
Really?
In Everett, at a nursing home.
I was just going to say maybe it was at the coffee shop.
Maybe.
That's why they were running.
anyways.
That's why they're running. That's why they sold it. It's because they found out they were patient zero. They didn't want word to get out.
We're breaking so many news stories on this podcast every episode.
Anyways, I remember buying the coffee shop, closing on the sale, and I was super excited, right? Looking around the new shop, I'm like, man, I own this place. That's so cool. And then we went outside and we're like, oh snap, there's there's no people like anywhere. The thing that like kind of went through my head is like, I didn't really feel like people wanted to be inside their houses all the time. And so I was like, I was talking to my wife, Kenzie, and I was like, Kenzie, you know what? Like, you know what the mission of our coffee shop should be? It should be to create community. Like where there, like it genuinely feels like there is no community anywhere right now. Everybody's just like afraid to come in contact with another human being. It was crazy. And so I was like, let's make the mission statement to be create community. And from that, we built out like, okay, well, what does that actually look like? And we got to the point where it was like our mission was to become the living room of Thurston County and beyond. And so we started building out like core values around that, and like what does that actually look like, and all of this stuff. And fast forward to March, so that was November. Fast forward to March, we open up, or we start doing all this marketing about like, you know, we feel like a coffee shop should be like a living room of the community, and like we expect our coffee shop to be a place where not only do we serve great coffee, great food, but this is a place where you can come and share your gifts, whatever your gifts are, whether that's you know, building new relationships, connecting with you know, potential job opportunities, sharing music, sharing art, whatever it is. This is the space to do it. Day one, we literally had a line out the door, down the sidewalk, almost to the street, and
Wow.
and it's just, that was, you know, kind of been history ever since. Thanks, guys.
Was this your first time owning a business, or had you guys like had little small businesses before this?
So let me take you back to when I was 6 years old. In my elementary school, starting in kindergarten, they give you a packet. They get every fall at the beginning of the year. There's a school fundraiser, right? And usually we were selling cookie dough, and whoever sells the most cookie dough gets a big prize. But like for, you know, you get a certain prize at 5 boxes, 10 boxes, you know, whatever. I just I really like to win. I've always been somebody who's like very competitive. And so I remember like coming home and being like, Mom, like, will you buy a box of cookies? And she like, of course, yeah, I'll buy it. And then I was like, do you think like Grandma and Grandpa would buy a box? And like maybe I could go to Dad's work, and like I could tell everybody about like the different cookies that we have, and like I could maybe get them to like tell their families, and like maybe I'll make like a little like paper explaining like here's the different flavors that we have, and I can make like multiple copies of that to give to like Dad's coworkers so that they can go and give it to like other people. I was 6 when I did that. Every year from kindergarten through 6th grade, I won the fundraising contest every single year. It was like I swept the competition every single time. And that's when I began, like, I would door knock for cookie sales. I mean, I knew the whole neighborhood. Everybody was, you know, they kind of expected me to come to their door around, you know, beginning of October every year. Yeah, I kind of became the like neighborhood entrepreneur. So every summer I would have a lemonade stand at the front of the street. And one summer, neighbor kid who I used to play with all the time, Max was his name, he wanted to do a lemonade stand. And I was like, dude, I'll build the lemonade stand for you. Split the money with me 50-50.
Wow.
So but you gotta, I told him, you gotta stay in your cul-de-sac though. Like I get the main street.
Just carving out territory.
You gotta stay in your cul-de-sac.
Yeah. And you know, this was like elementary school Kennon, you know.
That's phenomenal.
A hustler from the beginning.
Right.
And like middle school comes around, and I'm like, all right, like I'm not doing the cookie dough fundraisers anymore. Lemonade's not really cutting it. Like I kind of want to make like, you know, at least $100 every summer.
The
like,
ROI on lemonade is not big enough.
Lemonade's just not gonna cut it. I need this
it's just not
deeper
going to
drug.
cut it anymore. So I went door to door, and I started, you know, letting people know, hey, I can cut your grass, I can walk your dog, I can pull your weeds, whatever you need me to do. And that first summer, I think I got like six clients for lawn care. That was when I was like 12 or 13. Then I asked my parents, I was like, hey, would it be okay to like post online that I mow grass and pull weeds? And my parents were like, yeah, sure. Because like they didn't think I was going to get anything. Well, it turns out that like a lot of people think it's super cool when like a young kid wants to make money and like mow grass. So a bunch of people started hiring me to come mow their grass. Well, only problem was like my parents had to drive me to all of these jobs, and it was like kind of weird, but they were very supportive of that endeavor. And I did that for like 3 years, and then I ended up getting my own car and everything, and I actually had like a pretty decent. I had a licensed landscaping business when I was 16. So
wow,
it's so awesome.
It was technically my dad's company because I wasn't allowed to like you legally can't have a company until you're like 18. But rocked that for like three-ish years.
Do you have any brothers or sisters?
I have 5. Yeah, 5 siblings. I'm the youngest.
Wow, so you're one of 6.
Yeah.
You're the youngest, you said?
I'm the youngest of 6, yeah.
What were they thinking about all this enterprising, Ken? Did you have other brothers and sisters that kind of did stuff like this too? Or was this all like just
older. So, well, the whole reason that I even wanted to do all of this stuff, I'm the youngest, right? And so like all of my siblings, they get to do whatever they want, right? They get to go like, one of my older sisters bought a car, and I was like, I want a car. I'm 12 years old, but I want a freaking car. My sister got to go to the movies. My brother got to go to football games. Like I can't do any of that because, well, number one, I'm like 12 years old, but number 2, I don't have any money, and I wanted to make money. Like they didn't have like that. They were all kind of the same age. One thing about me, I'm adopted. So like my parents had 4 biological kids. And the difference in age between me and my oldest brother is 20 years. Wow. So like, big age gap. And then my parents adopted, my sister from China. She's 3 years older than me. And then they adopted me. So it's kind of me and my sister from China for a little while. But even she was older than me, and I saw her making all this money, and I was like, I kind of want to make money somehow, but I couldn't just get a job, so I just kind of had to figure it out. So,
that's cool.
Yeah. I love that they all supported you in this endeavor. Mm-hmm. Like from being a kid, instead of being like, no, you shouldn't do something like that, or oh no, don't worry about it, because I feel like that happens a lot, and that just like really extinguishes everything.
So let me remind you, I'm the youngest of 6 kids.
You're the baby.
My parents had been parents for like 25 years. Like if like, hey mom, can I like, I'm literally 6 years old. I'd be like, hey mom, can I go like knock on people's doors? Oh yeah, sure, whatever.
Yeah, like, please get out of the house. Anything you want to do. Yeah.
That's last kid thing.
But, like, it's funny because like my older brother is like, mom would have never let me do that ever.
Yeah.
Because he's the first kid, and like
you learn as the kids come around, you learn that those little things are not going to like kill them. It's like, they'll be fine. Sure, go ahead, knock yourself out.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. The first baby comes, and you drop the pacifier, so you wash it, sanitize it, get it really hot water. Then you give it back to the baby. The second one, you rinse it off, give it back to the baby. The third one, you just like wipe it off and give it back to the baby. That's what happens. So you just learn.
And I was 6 deep, y'all.
They're more durable than you ever imagined. Yeah.
Yeah.
The durability
like,
of
he'll
kids.
Be fine.
Great.
Yeah. 6 deep. You were kind of just doing your own thing.
So have you always worked for yourself, or was there a time where you took a job for a while?
So when I was 16, this is so just random, but when I was 16, I got a job as a gymnastics coach for toddlers.
What?
Did you know gymnastics?
For toddlers?
Yeah, okay.
He was just making them flip.
Did you make them think that you had gymnastics?
How did you parlay landscaping and lemonade into gymnastics coach?
Yeah, it was the only job that I knew of that was hiring. A bunch of my friends worked there, and so I was like, that sounds pretty cool. I was there for about 2 months, and And then I've never worked for somebody ever since.
Oh, real quick around the room. What's the
Nice.
shortest period of time you guys ever held a job?
Shortest period of time I've ever held a job. I think it was like maybe like 2 or 3 months at Panera Bread. And I got tired of not getting paid. So as soon as I got my check, I was like, bye. And I just
That's
no called,
amazing.
no showed.
Yeah, probably around 6 months, a couple of times, a couple of different places, but always kind of, I would do a side hustle, right? So I remember when I first started real estate, my side hustle was bartender slash, server on the weekends because I can make bank in cash. And then during the day and during the week, I was a real estate agent. So that's kind of how I looked at it, but it was never for a long period of time. I think in high school, I worked at a lumber yard, and I was a pretty big kid my senior year of high school. So I would, they would like anytime there was anything heavy, they'd be like, Ray, can you come to the front, please? I'd be like, oh gosh. And so I'd help this little old lady carry her mower out to her car, just put it on my back and walk out. I had to sweep the entire warehouse one day, and that was supposed to be punishment, but I loved it because I was out there alone in this gigantic warehouse, just like sweeping. It was so therapeutic. I loved it. And the guy comes in like at closing time. And he was like, oh, you were supposed to go like 30 minutes ago. I was like, well, I'm finished. And he was looking around and he was like, this has never been this clean. And that's when I realized like, this is not right for me, because I was like, there's some stuff over there that needs to be clean. There's some stuff over there that needs to be clean. So I went back to, I had a job where I was creating websites for
my
people.
house and clean my house.
I had a job where I was creating websites for people when I was like 15. And so I just kind of started doing that again, working for myself. And I was in work study. Have y'all done work study in high school? Work study meant you get out of school to go work, to have a job. And then you would like give them reports like, here's what I'm learning at my job. Well, it wasn't a big deal when I was at the lumber yard. But when I was working for myself and had my own company, I filled out my own like thing that the boss normally did. I filled out that part too. It's like, here's everything Ray's learning, blah, 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 and signed it Ray and turned it in. I'll never forget, I got called to the principal's office. And the principal was like, you can't, I knew the principals. Like I was the kid that would like just leave class, and the principal would see me. I was like, hey, Mr. Spadoni. And he'd say, hey, Ray, what you doing? I was like, just going to the restroom. He's like, okay, cool. See you later. And my friends would like try to sneak around the school and get caught and, all that stuff. I could just walk out. They trusted me. So I turned in my own evaluation of my own job. And the principal was like, you can't do that. I was like, why not? I work for myself. This is my evaluation. This is what I did. And he said, we need to talk to your parents. So he talked to my dad, and my dad was like, no, he's actually working for himself. This is his deal. And he's building websites for these companies around the city. And so they said, okay, here's what we want. Client testimonials. You have to turn in a client testimonial a week so that we know you're actually working. And so that was the extent of me working
right
for
now,
someone else.
Google is like verifying all of your reviews online to make sure that it weren't written by you.
Yeah.
This is when Ray learned how to ask for reviews.
Right.
Very early age.
So
I need
I
a client testimonial so that my principal knows that I'm working for you right now.
I worked one shift in the drive-through line at a fast food place in high school. And halfway through the shift, I was like, yeah, no, this is not it. And I quit and went home. That's the shortest time I ever had a job.
That's funny. No. It's all in our blood, I guess.
Does it not work for other people?
Couldn't stand it. I hated it.
Yeah.
Military is fine.
Well, I guess, yeah, you worked for the country.
You worked for all of us.
You held that job down. You did okay there.
Yeah. It's pretty easy to hold that one down. You just, don't die and don't go AWOL. Anyways, back to our guest and the
yeah, that was random.
Yeah, sorry.
It's the name of the show.
Yeah, real random.
So when did you become a realtor?
It was just before my 20th birthday. So.
Oh, young guy with the realtor.
And you're 24, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
How would anyone ever trust such a young guy with a large investment? How did you overcome that objection?
With real estate?
Yeah. Like when, so this is something I hear a lot. So
yeah,
our team gets approached by young people and they're like, I want to get my real estate license. They're just out of college and, they're in their early 20s and they're like, why would somebody trust me to sell their house? I've never bought a house.
They
I've
won't.
never.
You have to.
Oh, that's good.
They won't trust you to sell your house or to sell their house. I had to gain some credibility, and so the way that I did that, I put other businesses like in the spotlight and leveraged that to build my own brand. So I started. I live in an area called Thurston County. I started a web series called This Is Thurston. Actually, Ray, this was very much inspired by you. I don't know if you even know this. Sweet Home Arkansas,
Yeah.
dude, total inspiration for This Is
Awesome.
Thurston. Like I watched those videos and I was like, I want to do like what that guy does. That's awesome.
Sweet.
Yeah. And so I did that. So I was, doing these videos where I go to, the different restaurants in town and different local businesses in town, just saying, hey, I'm Kennon Maurer, local real estate agent here in Olympia. I'm here with so-and-so from whatever restaurant. And then the whole video is all about that restaurant. And then I was promoting that on Facebook and Instagram. And my name was getting out there. And I was becoming known as this, not necessarily this kid, but this guy who does these really cool videos for business owners in town. And he also happens to be a real estate agent. And then from that, I was actually able to gain some credibility and gain trust. And, that's kind of where I started.
That's cool. So while perception was you may lack authority in how a real estate transaction goes, while that was the perception, you instead flipped it to show your authority on the area.
Exactly.
I'm glad you took something from those videos. That was way back in the day.
So what is Sweet Home Arkansas? I've never heard of this.
So actually it's called Home Sweet Arkansas, but that's fine. It's the,
All right,
it's
I'm
the
sorry,
Sweet Home
Ray.
Alabama is the song, and that's where
Close
it's from.
enough.
But yeah, close enough. So I did this series, I guess it was 2017, 2018, and we didn't actually keep it going because we started discovering stuff that I'm sure Kennon may have already discovered too, but it was a really good to launch and really good to get our name out there, but it was very costly to continue. So it was kind of a tougher thing to keep going with, but it was worth it because of how it started to put us in the limelight here locally. And now we basically are doing the same thing, but just with our cell phones with a reel. So it's much shorter now. It's a kind of a different play. But are you still doing it?
No, not the way that I used to. I mean, it was
Do you
like
think-
full production, before.
Yeah, that's what, full. Yeah, we had a camera guy or two, lighting guy. Yeah, it was a whole thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Do you feel like someone could come in and do that and it be as worth it as it was back then? Or do you think that there's now so much content, market's changed?
I totally think you could still do that. The key there is you're leveraging another person's. I mean, these businesses already have, established themselves in this area, and you're trying to establish yourself. Well, just leverage their platform that they've already built. So, that's kind of the whole point with that. I think it's totally doable still today as it was,
This
4
is just the
or 5
old
years ago.
Gary V digital mirror thing, right?
That's the whole
Yeah.
thing.
Essentially.
Yep.
Yeah. About the same time Gary Vee was talking about it, we were trying it.
Yeah.
And then I think I even made a comment back in 2017 at Tom Ferry that in the future we won't be real estate agents. We will be, marketers.
Who have
that
Influencers.
Influencers that, well, I think at the time I said marketers that happen to be real estate agents, which is kind of what, Kennon said, an entrepreneur that happens to be a real estate agent. That's kind of what we were starting to point towards as the future. And I think,
a lot of people have said that, that might not be the best way to go about it because we do need to be professional realtors. But I still think like we in this market or this day and age of real estate, we do so much more on the marketing end than they used to in the past, where you really have to know more about marketing. You still have to know your contracts. You still have to know your real estate, but you really have to understand marketing unless you're going to be part of one of these big teams where they do it for you.
One thing around that is like I tried doing the educational content when I first got into real estate, and it just it didn't go anywhere because there's no audience. There's not a tight enough audience for it. And I think, even in today's current marketing, you have to be hyper local to really like get anywhere. You know, all these people that have like YouTube channels, but they only say like, here's, you know, the 5 things you need to know as a home buyer versus like, here's the top 5 things when moving to Olympia, Washington. Like the people that are doing just educational content about real estate specifically, I mean, it's just not hitting any real market, you know?
No.
Yeah.
It's boring, right?
Yeah.
You know, you might need the information, but you don't want it. Just like
Right.
people might need a mortgage. They
You
don't
don't-
want a mortgage, right?
You only need it when you're searching for it. I think there
Well,
is a
yeah.
time, like, I think if you have a library of that stuff, like this is what escrow is, and this is how the process works. And it's most useful when it's in context, when a person needs it right then. So
Right.
having it to be able to send to someone to say, hey, you know, you were asking this question the other day, I actually answered it on video. You know, here's a video of me doing that. I think that's extremely useful.
Yeah.
But I think there's also more than one part to real estate that someone can specialize in. Like if you're a brand new agent moving into an area, well, you don't have a sphere, so you can't just like dive into your sphere very easily. You don't have, you know, maybe you don't know all of the agents in town, so you're not really networking that way. You don't have this huge, vast amount of knowledge about how real estate is done in the area. But what you can share is what you wish you would have known before moving there. And that kind of stuff is what people key in on because it's relatable and they know, okay, that's what I'm looking for, is what this real estate agent says they should have known before they moved here. That's valuable. And so making the content that's most relatable to your current situation will display your current expertise. And I think that's where you can get authority from. Kennon, talking to business owners in the area, Kennon is someone who understands operating a business from, 6 years old. So that experience of him buying and selling, marketing, being out there on his own benefited him in the first shot he made in real estate because he was able to relate with people that do that, where some people may not have that same relational aspect to a business owner.
Do you feel like your experience with business and entrepreneurship, that helped you have better conversations with those business owners and have better relationship with them?
Not really, to be honest. What did you say, Ray?
I said, oh, never mind then.
And it's like
I
everything
mean,
you
like,
said was trash.
I think it's just like, I think I was so like, naive and like, young. I didn't know anything else that I'm just, I walk into a business and, hey, can I talk to the owner and just like talk to him, see what's up. It wasn't like if I did that now, I would be like, oh my gosh, like it's the owner of this like company and like, like that's crazy. I don't know. For me, it was just like, I just want to talk to these people because, I go into their coffee shop or whatever. And, I just want to talk to them.
Yeah.
There really wasn't much like strategy behind it. It was just a conversation. Hey, how did you start this place? What made you want to start it? And then, they would say something that I could relate to, and then we would maybe, talk about that, or something. So
I did the same thing when I moved here to my town. I knew nobody, nothing, new agent. It wasn't a big move. It was just counting over. But I went out and interviewed the person that owned the coffee shop, talked to the mayor, did all that stuff. But there was nobody here doing any kind of video on social or YouTube when it was growing very quickly in the neighborhood where I live. And when I got here, I couldn't find where to take my dogs to the groomer. I didn't know where to go get a haircut. There was nothing online, no resources for people who hadn't lived there for 50 years, right? Everyone knew where to go because they'd lived here for generations. But for the new people like me, there was nothing. So I created a Facebook group, and then I started doing videos on social and just sharing, like Ray said, I just shared my experience of like, hey, I just moved here and I've met this really great guy who owns a groomers, or this guy, does lawn service. This guy washes my car. And it kind of took off. So now 6, almost 7 years later, kind of like our previous guest, now that I've gotten to a certain level, now we're going to pack up the family and possibly move to a different state and try and start all over again.
Wait, you guys are thinking about moving?
Mm-hmm.
Fun
More breaking
times.
news.
Yeah, next next week we fly out to go do a little bit of house shopping and making sure that we want to go, and then we'll pull the trigger.
Are we
But there's
allowed to
already
ask
one of us in
where?
Arkansas.
Yeah, Denver.
Oh, that's fun.
Ooh,
Fun
very
spot.
different
Yeah.
from Florida.
Yeah. No, I want mountains and seasons and more stuff.
Oh, I don't know anything
We
about
have-
that
We
desire.
have beaches, and that's all we have here. We don't even have a good coffee shop, so
Well,
maybe.
if you ever want to move to Washington, we have all of that stuff.
I'm definitely going to come out there and check it out because I've been
You have
watching
to.
it online. Your place looks amazing.
Isn't it
Thank you.
so rainy?
There's-
In
That new shop is like,
Well, what's funny is last week we were in New York for an early 50th birthday present. My wife took me to New York City, and we went to the Starbucks Reserve,
mhm.
which is like 3 stories, and they have multiple bars and all kinds of. And I was like
Mhm.
a kid in a candy store. I mean, it was amazing.
Yeah.
But your place, like, it's not as packed with stuff as theirs is, but it's not far off, man. That place looks really, really nice.
It's
really
pretty
nice.
I mean, it's pretty cool.
Did y'all redesign all that stuff, or did you take it over?
We designed the entire thing, so that was
Wow.
our first, like, from the ground up. So the other two that we bought were existing coffee shops. This space was an old bank, and
Vault room. I saw that vault room.
yeah.
It looks, yeah.
and so we came in and built that from the ground up, and it was like I almost died during that process, man. That was so hard. I didn't know what I was doing. I mean, like,
Would you do it
was
again?
extremely challenging, but we pulled it off. So
Would you do it all again now that you've done it?
I don't know. Not that big. Not that big. I wouldn't go.
So now
that
you have
big.
a flagship. Would you call that your flagship store? Or is your first store your flagship store?
The first one's our flagship.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think by
That one's
definition,
got like
right?
a special vibe too.
So the next one's not going to be bigger than this one.
Yeah, that's a whole.
He's like,
area.
never say never, but no.
Hey, listen, that's like a whole thing that, like, we're talking about right now, like with like our leadership team and stuff. We're like, okay, we kind of outdid ourselves with this Tacoma location, and we kind of outdid ourselves with the last location too. We're kind of out of ideas, and so, like, if we do another, like, launch, people are gonna expect something crazy. Because, like, the last two have been, like, all three were kind of crazy. I mean, the first one was in the middle of COVID. Like, people thought we were nuts. And then we opened another that was, like, super cool. It has, like, a tree house, and, like, that's cool. And then the third one is just, like, this huge location and, like, punches you in the face with, like, coolness. I don't know if I can do a fourth one, man.
You can do a fourth one, but have a virtual reality
you go.
space.
Maybe.
Hmm.
As soon as
what
you
my
walk
idea-
in, you put on a virtual reality goggles.
My
Take it
That's
with
the
you.
best.
my idea with the coffee thing is to start a whole different business, call it something else, and then franchise it. So
Ooh.
Oh.
that's probably more realistic to happen than a fourth Ebony and Ivory.
So I've wanted a coffee shop for years now. I've driven my wife nuts with looking at spaces where we could open up a coffee shop because it's my favorite office. Like, I love just going and sitting at a really cool coffee
Yeah.
shop. Hot, fresh coffee all the time, right? Probably some really good pastries. Plenty of people to talk to. If you run out of, if you've made all your calls for the day, you go, hey, what's going on, man? How you doing? Meet some new people. And I could just go hang out at a coffee shop all day. And I was
Mhm.
like, I should just own a coffee shop. And then I could work there, like own it. I wouldn't make the coffee,
Mhm.
but just go hang out at my own coffee shop,
Ugh.
right?
That kind of reminds me of somebody, actually. Myself.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Like,
And
that's
then you
what
say franchise, and I'm like,
yeah.
Are you
well,
going to open one of Kennon's
you-
franchises?
yeah,
Denver,
do you need
Colorado.
yeah, it could be the first
That'd be cool.
franchisee in Denver.
Dude, so you know what the craziest thing about the coffee shop is like, it's a lead generator for the real estate business. So I'm
Oh, yeah.
kind of like, it was way easier for me to build, like, a brand in coffee than it was in real estate, because you have, like, there's so many more people that will buy a coffee from you than will buy a house from you.
Yeah,
We serve, like, almost 400 people every single day. And we have a loyalty system set up at the coffee shop. So, for every 10 drinks you buy, or every 10 orders that you make, you get like $5 off, something like that. And in order to get logged into that, you have to give us your name, your phone number, your email. Well, I'm like the face of the coffee shop. So if you like look at our Instagram posts or Facebook or whatever marketing, like you're going to see my face a lot and me and my personality and everything. So and people recognize that. Like when I come into these coffee shops, people are like, oh, that's like the guy, So I took that loyalty audience and I utilized them as a custom audience on Facebook. And now I'm retargeting all of my real estate content to hit those people so that they make the connection between, oh, that's the guy that owns a coffee shop. Oh, he sells real estate too. And this year alone, I've sold 8 houses from coffee shop customers. Nice. And this is the first year I've really even explored this strategy. Mm-hmm. So, I think, if I tweak that a little bit, my goal is to be able to build an entire team off of the leads that I get, or have the leads from the coffee shop feed an entire real estate team. So
we mentioned music before. Mm-hmm. I haven't heard you tell us about your journey. Did you guys know that Kennon was musical?
Oh yeah.
Well, I have a music related question first, real quick.
Okay.
Did you have to get any kind of licensing to use the ebony and ivory? I saw the slogan even says "Live together in perfect harmony." I mean, it's right out of MJ and Paul McCartney. I mean,
It is. Yeah. So I asked an attorney about that, and he said, "You really don't. You really don't, because it's like ebony and ivory coffee, like by itself." So our slogan is actually like it's not really together in perfect harmony. It's just like a thing. I mean that was like not totally intentional, but also like a little bit, and not the point. But I asked an attorney about it, and he was like, "You can use the name Ebony and Ivory." He's like, "My wife is white, and so like Ebony and Ivory coffee. Honestly, nobody ever thinks of the song. They never do. They're like, oh, Ebony and Ivory. Like you must be Ebony, and she must be." Ivory, like that makes
it's just
sense.
The old guys like me that remember the song. I mean, MJ's not going to come harass you for it, and I'm pretty sure Paul's got plenty of money, so I think you're probably safe.
Yeah, is he still alive?
Paul?
Yeah.
Oh,
still putting out albums.
Oh, yeah. Clearly, I'm not his target audience.
Ouch. So what do you play, Kennon?
I mean, I can play a lot of things, but mostly I'm more known to be a piano player. Yeah, I've kind of played piano my whole life, since I was like 2 years old.
That's cool.
That's kind of what I do. Man.
Was it always something that you wanted to do, or is that something that your parents were like, hey, you're going to play piano?
No, that was totally me. My grandparents had this piano at their house, and every time we would go over there, I was just like drawn to it, and I would just like go like kind of plink around on it. And my parents were like, oh, you're kind of like, he kind of has like a little bit of rhythm, and like there's kind of like something there. They didn't really care if I wanted to like actually do piano or not. It was just kind of, it's what I always felt like doing. So I was kind of like self-taught most of my life. And then in like fifth or sixth grade, my parents put me into lessons, and I hated it. It's the worst. So yeah, I got out of lessons, and then I just learned everything else from YouTube, and
wow, really
worked out pretty well.
Nice.
Yeah.
They didn't say, well, you're just gonna have to go anyway.
My parents aren't like that.
Not for the baby,
number 6,
anyway.
So
yeah, not for the baby. For your brother probably had to play his fingers to the bone. Yeah.
Honestly. Yeah.
That's fun. So what else do you play? You said you play a lot of things. You play piano. What else?
So the first paid gig that I ever had, you guys should guess what instrument it was.
Accordion.
The oboe.
No.
Violin.
No, it was trumpet.
Oh, really?
Trumpet. I was in a band called
That's
the
interesting
Grey
to go
Wharf.
from piano to brass.
Oh, wait, Ray, you got a band name. You might have to do some research.
Yeah, what's the band name?
The Grey Wharf. Grey.
Grey.
Grey. Grey. Wharf. WHARF. We have an
Interesting.
EP on Apple Music, and I am the trumpet player for that band.
Now, is
Uh,
that still going or
oh no,
okay?
They haven't put anything
that
else
was
since
when I was.
2014.
Let's see, that was when I was 14, 15, and then when I was
You were busy as a teenager.
Yeah.
yeah.
Kennon was like doing all the things. So of course his parents didn't have to tell him, "Oh, you need to practice. You have to go to lessons," because he's
Right.
already out there doing all the businesses. They're like,
Right.
he's occupied.
He's a teenage Renaissance man for real.
Right.
Yeah. I've always been a busy guy, I guess.
Oh,
Yep,
here we
that's
go.
us, dude. That is
There it
us.
is. These are really good. Get it? Valley of the Wolves is the name of this track.
Pain, it is not here,
I like this. This is good.
and love
Yeah.
has
This is solid.
conquered our fear.
Is there a song that is a trumpet feature?
There's a trumpet line in that song, and actually, I think all of those songs have trumpet in them.
Good trumpet. Good. There's
Yeah.
4.
A line. Or is it a little bit?
It comes
Maybe like in the
out
chorus?
repeated throughout the. Yeah, it's like I think it's either right before the chorus or right after the chorus.
Right.
But
I'm gonna see if I can guess about where that goes.
We'll hold
No, not there. Well, here it
on
comes. I feel like the chorus is coming.
once again.
I like the tune though.
another verse.
Okay.
So go,
Another verse. Okay. Let's skip forward a little bit.
do not weep, my girl,
Bridge.
for it is kind
Kennon's like, come on, get to my part.
afflicts my soul and haunts my mind.
Good folk music.
Standing tall, see the light.
Yes, you better
This place will
like, no,
leave
it's still not
my
there.
mind.
All right, we'll find it. We'll have to.
You'll find it. It's okay. You really don't have to listen to it.
I
right
like
now.
the music. It's
It
good.
was good.
For
Yeah.
for being like 14 in this is great, man.
Oh, I was the youngest person in that band.
How old was everybody else?
They were. I was in 8th grade, and everybody else was in high school.
Okay, but still, like you guys are teenagers. That was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We won like a 21 and under like music competition with that band. We were like
Nice.
our whole goal was to open for Mumford and Sons because that was like they were like
yeah.
really popular.
That's very much in
Um,
the vibe.
Yeah, and then everybody went to college and
And you all got lives. Yeah.
You know what's so funny that when we were interviewing these guests and you start hearing their backstory and like their upbringing and the things that they've been successful at all the way through, is it any surprise that they continue their success in real estate and all these other
Yeah.
endeavors? I mean,
Yeah.
it's like they're just destined to succeed at everything they do.
Mm.
Well,
that's
I mean, he's only got 3 followers on Spotify, so
That's true.
let's call it.
that's true. There's another
The
song.
podcast
I
hasn't
have-
been released yet. Wait, there's gonna be a
It's
resurgence
true.
once the podcast drops.
Resurgence.
It's gonna be
There's
sick.
more
Coming.
There's
There's
more
a couple-
tracks than followers currently.
There's a
I
few
feel that
other,
that's how our podcast is gonna be.
There's
Oh,
a
yeah.
few other bands that I've recently been like co-writing for
Mhm.
Oh, that's cool.
that have a lot more followers. So like you should
Okay,
check out
cool.
Winehouse, the
Oh.
band.
See, he's doing the same
Not
thing.
Amy Winehouse.
Not
he's,
Amy Winehouse, but the
he's
other
writing for someone who has more followers to get more exposure. He's just doing the same thing. He did before.
Yeah. What's the
Trying to
name
get
of one of
people.
your songs? Because Winehouse is hard to Google. I mean, it's easy to Google, but it's hard to find like a band named Winehouse because of Amy.
Just type in Winehouse the band. You'll find
Oh.
us. So my
Yeah.
wife is in that band, and I co-write like majority of their songs.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Is this y'all?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I like
That was
it.
the latest song that we released.
Is that the one that you played for me the other day?
No, that's a different one. That one's really good. That's like my favorite song. But
What's the song name?
that one is called "I See Stars," but that's not a
It's not out.
that's
there.
not a Winehouse song. It's one of the guys in Winehouse, his name's Aiden. He's doing like some solo stuff, and we wrote a song for him called "I See Stars," and it's kind of a banger. Not gonna lie.
That's cool.
Good song.
If you play any of
I
this
can't play
music
it
in
on your
coffee
website,
shops?
can I?
I play all of the music in the coffee shops.
Nice.
Yeah, all of it.
That's awesome.
Is this the song?
That's a good song. I did co-write that song.
This is not the one, though.
That's not the
I can't-
one, but that's
I was
a good
trying
one.
to figure out how to play the one that you were talking about, but
Yeah,
I'll
you
just-
won't. You can find it on Spotify or Apple Music. It's not on the Winehouse website.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I just want somebody to hear what you sound like.
All turned down. Up all
Can you hear that, or is that
night. The way I shiver.
That is not as folky, Kennon.
He's got
That's cool.
range.
I do
Yeah.
have range. I even did a country album this year too.
What?
Yeah.
Open
Is
3
that-
coffee shops, country album,
Country album.
writes for
real
a
estate
band, real estate. I mean,
He
Jesus.
spoke on
Is there
stage.
anything he can't do?
Real estate
Just
agent.
how many hours are in your day? I feel like there's more than the standard 24.
Yeah.
Like I said, man, I've always been kind of a busy guy.
Yeah, for sure.
He's
Well,
also
one of
young.
the-
He's got a lot of
I was
energy.
gonna, yeah,
do.
true.
He saves a lot of time by not texting anyone. that's one of those. His
Oh yeah, I
secrets
don't
is that he does it.
participate in the group chats.
No, never. He's in them. He'll see them, but he will not participate at all. You and Will Draper both. Like as soon as there's a group chat, you're like, deuces. I'll see you later.
Well, I'm in like 20 of them, so it's just like I lose track of like everything.
I feel like I'm keeping them going most of the time. Like, oh,
Yeah, it's always Ray sending the memes and the inappropriate reels.
yeah, that's true.
Are you the one starting all of these group chats too, Ray?
I just do start a lot of them, but it's because people are like, "Hey, we need a group chat to talk about this, or we need to get people
Yeah.
together to do this." I'm like, "Fine, I'll do it," because I got everybody's contact info, or I know everyone on the Instagram that wants to get in the group. So fine, I'll form it, and then they won't do anything with it, and I'm just sitting there, so I'll use it. I'm
For
not
your
afraid
own
of
purposes.
them. Yeah. I mean, you can mute them if you want to. I'm not afraid of them.
Sure.
Well, Kenan, you also sell houses.
I sure do.
In his
And
spare
we're
time.
not, I don't want to keep you all night, but I do want to mention that you got on stage for selling houses. There's a lot of people that sell houses, Kenan, that don't talk about it on stage.
This is true.
So what was your, for those that don't know, that didn't see you on stage, that don't know you're best friends with Tom Ferry, what was the thing that catapulted you to the stage?
I think it was a mixture of a bunch of things. I'm currently 4 years into real estate. I've sold just over 100 houses, which is,
Nice.
pretty good for somebody,
Legit.
younger guy.
Not a
pretty
lot
new.
of time. Yeah.
Half of that during COVID.
Yeah, half of that
right.
during COVID.
Yeah, I mean, really, the thing that caught Tom's attention, it came from another one of the, or a couple of the other, real estate coaches. I've always just I work really hard, man. I really do. I work I don't think people understand the amount of hard work it takes to be able to do all the things. I do a lot of things, but they're all fairly difficult. But I balance it and it works.
The work hard.
I can't tell you exactly how Tom Ferry came across me. I wish I could, but I would assume that's how.
Do you enjoy downtime? Is there something that's just curious? Is there? Do you ever 30 minutes to yourself and you just play a mindless game on your phone?
You know what I do in my
Fiction or-
downtime? What I do in my downtime is I play music, and then I'm like, oh, this sounds really cool. I'm gonna invite my friends over, and we're gonna make this into a really cool song that's gonna get us shows to play, and then we're gonna make money off of that.
So it basically works in his
And then
downtime.
So just
And
it's
then
like Pinky,
for-
right? Just take over the world.
Also in my downtime, I think of new ideas for a coffee shop. It's just I don't. That's my downtime.
But you know what though?
Understand.
It's
I get
because
it.
you're doing things that you love doing. You can't turn it off. If it was a job, you could
Right.
punch out and go home and watch Netflix all day. But because you're in multiple things that you just genuinely love, you're never working. You're just having fun and making money doing it.
Yeah.
Why not do it all the time?
It almost makes me feel bad.
Yeah.
Like, almost.
Yeah.
Isn't that the best thing though?
Well, yeah.
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 I mean, albums, 100 houses, stage, 3 coffee shops, and you're still married. I mean, come on. Most people, something would have given.
My wife does all that stuff with me.
Yeah.
Except
And-
for she doesn't do that.
I'm going to add on to that. Every single person that Kennon's name has come up around, at least in my presence, always has something really positive to say about him as well.
Because he's
We're like,
always so
oh,
damn
Kennon's the
nice.
nicest guy. Kennon's
Yeah.
this like I have not heard anybody say one negative thing about you, and that's not always the case, as we all know within this business, especially people who are very busy or very doing all the things. They get a little bit of an attitude sometimes.
I
But
appreciate that.
haven't heard anything negative about you.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate it.
I can mostly echo that sentiment. There was a couple of no, I'm kidding.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, okay.
Right back at you.
Yeah.
It was actually Kennon talking about Ray and Ray talking about
That's
Kennon.
right. That's right.
The-
Yeah,
the
it's
two
just
negatives.
us talking about each other. That's cool.
It's awesome.
Well, dude, thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Oh, happy to be here. Thanks for the
Yeah,
invite.
man.
Yeah, good guest.
Yeah, for real.
I feel like
Super cool.
the name of the podcast is real random.
Mhm.
And I know, Kennon, because you lived your life, you see that there's a lot of order in it. But from an outsider looking in, that's just taking a glimpse at your life, they're going to look at it and go, that's real random. so it fits.
Guest for the podcast.
Yeah, it's a perfect guess. But I feel like there is so many things in your life that just kind of keep coming together.
Mhm.
So it'll be interesting to see what you do next, dude.
Candy
Thanks,
bars,
Big
lemonade,
things.
music, coffee,
You never know.
houses.
You never know.
Coffee. Yeah, I'm coming to try some of that coffee, man.
Whatever it
do.
is, it's going to get you that house on Lake Washington. So
Probably
Oh my
shrooms.
gosh.
Probably
That'd
not
be
shrooms
insane.
next.
No, I decided that I will never have a house on Lake Washington. Did I tell you that story, Rebecca?
you told me the story
Please.
about how you wanted one there.
I
But-
did until I figured out like what the people actually do on that lake, and I was like, well, I have no chance.
Oh, well, you got to share with the non-Washington people here.
Okay, real,
Yeah,
real,
well,
real,
like-
real fast. The other day, me and my wife were hanging out with some friends on Lake Washington, and like we were, it was our friend's mom who's really, really wealthy, and she was driving us around the boat, and like this place is insane. There's like super yachts everywhere, and like big, big, big mansions, like crazy stuff. And I'm like, kind of serious, but like kind of not. I was like, what does everybody do out here for a living? Like I must be in the wrong profession. And this lady's like, oh, well, that guy, like Kenny G lives there, and Pete Carroll lives there, and that guy there invented baby carrots, and the guy next to him owned or started Carnival Cruise Lines and Build-A-Bear Workshop. And I'm like, he created both of those? Like, I will never live on Lake Washington. I've just decided that.
I don't know.
You might.
Baby
They were like-
carrots or anything remotely close.
I
That guy
don't
started
think-
Ebony and Ivory and
That's
this other
true.
Yeah.
franchise business.
That's right.
That's-
And he played with Kenny G.
There you go.
Co-wrote
Very
Very
Kenny
well
G's
could be,
comeback
Kennon.
album.
Basically, everything you said that those people do, you do right now, just a smaller version. So you're just
Mhm.
pre-lunch.
And you're
There you
young.
go.
That's what it is.
It's a limiting belief.
See, I thought you were going to say that you found out that people dump bodies in the lake, and you're like, never mind, I
Yeah.
don't want to live there
Or
anymore.
somebody does something on the lake. I was like, what do they do
Oh.
on the lake?
Right.
But I mean, they do dump bodies in Lake Washington.
Well,
So,
Don't they dump bodies in every lake?
It's true.
yes. But Washington also has probably a higher number of weird things happening. We have a lot of cults.
Rebecca's got a
Serial
guy.
killers start here. We just,
That's-
I got a guy.
That's
She's like, I got a guy.
I can put you in touch. Well, thanks you, Kennon, for being on. This is awesome. So glad
Yeah,
you
man.
can make it.
Super
happy
cool.
to be here. Yeah, happy to
Yeah.
be here, guys.
We'll see you at One Reel.
I will be there.
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome.
Right.
Reunion time.
Cool.
Oh yeah, it's Fries now.
Rise.
Whoops.
I am petitioned that they go back to one reel for every year.
Yeah, I've still got
agree.
my
That's
wristband from last year, so I'm
Are you still
holding out
wearing
hope.
it?
Yeah, I'm still
Nice.
wearing
That
it.
one. I got it.
The
Yeah.
little skinny one.
Maybe you'll
Yeah,
get
that's
into the
awesome.
party for free.
I doubt it.
I mean, he already bought his
doubt it.
ticket, so I think he does get into the party for free.
It's not for free if I bought a ticket.
True.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
Bye,
See
Let
y'all
me know
next time.
when those franchising opportunities open up. Let me know.
Mm.
I will tell you. You'll be first on the list.
Denver, first door.
Okay.
Bye, Kennon.
See you, Kennon.
All right, guys. See ya.
Later.
Oh.
Such an awesome guest.
Yeah.
I love that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously, people have only said the highest praises about him. That he is just such a nice guy. And he's super young. So it's
That-
amazing how much he
Yeah.
has accomplished.
The first
Literally
blueprint,
half Rick's age.
like
Double the accomplishments.
just shoot myself right now. Yeah. Thanks for that. No, so after the first Blueprint, actually didn't meet him at Blueprint, met him outside of Whataburger at the airport. Well, everyone was
Amazing.
getting back up.
Randomly.
Very random. I think I was hanging out with Greg Goad, and we ran
Wow.
into the airport.
Another
and we
great guy.
chatted just for
Yeah, another big
5 or
community
10
guy.
minutes.
Mhm.
Yeah. And he was just super nice. I mean, and then since then we've only chatted a few times, but every time, super nice guy. That was a good show. I like that one.
I
gonna go
learned a
try
lot
this.
about Rick today and his
Love-
love
Yeah,
for
I know, right?
coffee.
There was a
Yeah.
guy, I was trying to find it, but he actually studied this society, and he basically figured out that society operates better caffeinated, and that
I
most
agree.
people operate better caffeinated. And
100%
that,
agree.
you know, there's a big movement like anti-caffeine, like you should get off caffeine.
Yeah.
So he did that for a while. And while he was doing that, he was also studying the effects of caffeine on civilization. And basically they can track when civilizations went into a boom or industrialization and that kind of thing based on when coffee got to that civilization. The increase in enhanced productivity. And so his thesis is if you need it, you should probably take a step back, cut down on it a little bit. However, by taking a step back and cutting it out, it's the best way to get yourself reacquainted with its effects whenever you add it back. And so he, after all of his research and everything, decided that he's going to drink coffee once a week. And that's going to be kind of his coming alive. But he said when he went off of coffee, he was trying to think and he couldn't think.
Oh.
And it wasn't necessarily because, coffee was a crutch that now he couldn't think without it. It was because he was not caffeinated, living in a society that was caffeinated. And so his ability to process was out of step or out of sync with the rest of society. It's
Interesting.
very interesting. Some Joe Rogan stuff there.
If we look back on history, we've had some level of caffeine for always because people have always drank tea. Like in every
That's how
culture.
it started.
Yeah.
That's how it started. And then we were introduced to coffee, when we came over to this
Wasn't it
side
like
of the world.
wasn't it like an Ethiopian that gave beans to a monk and the monk made tea with it, and then coffee in like 1000 BC started going throughout China?
Oh, is that how?
I think so.
I didn't know exactly where I thought it originated like over here in Latin America.
Of course
I
you
don't
would.
think so.
Of course, I don't know a lot about coffee.
Those
Okay,
damn
figure it out.
Colombians and all
I
that.
didn't start
drug
drinking coffee.
I have to relook at the history.
Like 40
But yeah, it was literally a tea back in the
Interesting.
day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean now
I like that
I think
story.
we've probably gone too far with Red Bull and whatnot and the
You
monsters
could argue, yeah.
because it's
We
it's
have-
a bit much.
Possible.
Yeah. We have
It's
industrialized
like everything
the
else,
drug.
right? It's like everything else with, like like with sugar,
Mhm.
in its natural state, it's not that bad because you'd have to
Yeah.
eat a shit ton of apples to get enough sugar that's in like candy,
Right.
So caffeine in its more natural state is probably, way more manageable
Mhm.
than downing a 4-pack of Red Bull.
Right. And it's also like a way lower
Yeah.
dose. And you're going to get other health benefits along with drinking that tea. So you're getting the little bit of that caffeine on
Yeah.
there. But yeah, we like to do things to excess, don't we?
Yeah. Yeah. That's how we live.
And now Kennon is feeding the world his coffee.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's really good coffee. Way
So
better than Starbucks.
when are we doing a mastermind at his place? Like we could just take over the place
Yeah,
for
for
a day
real.
and do a mastermind. That place looks amazing.
So
You
when do
already
you
got it
guys
in
want
the
to come to
works?
Washington?
I'm down.
Well-
I've never been. I'm totally down to go out there.
Well, maybe I'll tell y'all some ideas when we get off air.
Okay.
That sounds good.
Okay. Bye.
All right. Well,
Bye.
and we're not even going to delay that conversation. Bye, guys.
Just going right into it.